Yeah,
that's sick.
How fast do you think the Demogorgons run?
Like they're like,
How fast does a horse go? Any fucking nerds in this room that know what how fast a horse goes?
Excuse me, you asshole!
You want to explain to me what in God's name is going on here?
Hey, I'm Ross.
And I'm Matt.
And we're the creators of Stranger Things.
Hey, I'm Finn Wolfhard.
Hey, I'm Caleb McLaughlin.
hi, I'm Noah Schnapp.
Hi, my name is Sarah Hinscout.
I'm Amy Paris.
My name is Craig Hennigan.
I'm Betsy Patterson.
Today we're going to be looking at a scene from Stranger Things season 5. It's the scene that we call the Max Z battle.
Hit play.
Listen, these kids, they are not safe, okay? They are in danger.
And why exactly do you think they're here, ma'am? They're under our protection.
I don't remember how long we shot this scene for. Was it like a month? I swear it felt like a month.
Because there was 2 weeks of like rehearsals of the oneer.
This is our backlot. It's the first backlot and only backlot we've ever had on the show. It took our production designer team about a year to do.
Pretty much everything on the ground up to about 10 to 15 feet is real and practical. Beyond that, we had a huge wall of blue screen.
Listen, these kids, they are not safe, okay? They are in danger.
This group is in a quarantine. They don't have access to the mall because it's gone, so it makes sense that some of their fashion choices are repeating from previous seasons. The cool thing about Winona's outfit is it was her choice specifically to keep that plaid shirt in the closet. That was a shirt that was in season 4.
It's the same topper that she's been wearing, the same hairpiece as we've done since season 2. All the families kind of have a similarity, so you can see that they're related. I chose to do some of it with wig work, just to have enough hair to make a very heavy bang on her. I really feel like that face framing and the way it falls is how we know her, and it should stay consistent.
Early on, you know, some big reference points were films like The Goonies, Stand By Me. As we got into later seasons, things got a little darker. We're talking more about Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead. So, you know, the show continues to grow and evolve.
If I may interject, officer, I've seen what's coming. And no disrespect meant, but you and your men can't protect shit!
So this character, when I saw him on paper, first time I think he was called Head Derek.
I love little Derek. In reading the script about Derek, it's stated that he's wearing shorts. We put him in shorts, colorful sweaters, high top sneakers. That sweater, I love how it stands out amongst like all the military and camo that is within this scene.
This flat top was really, really hard. Every time there was humidity in the air, and I think there was a little bit of rain on this day, he would get this wave in the front. We just kept it, and it's part of his look because we just couldn't fight it. I do love how weird it is. Sometimes it's the mistakes that really makes it special.
In previous seasons, we've always seen a profile shot of the neck and you see little goosebumps, and I have a little shiver sound that we created, God, way back in season 2 that sort of signifies that Will's about to sort of go into some sort of like other realm. Funny enough, it probably was like a hiss of some sort, like a snake hiss or like a hiss from a goose.
They're here.
This is a huge crane shot moving in on a kid. So, and these are non-actors. None of these kids were prepared to have a massive close-up, but especially the girl, that giant crane push-in. She bravely raised her hands and said she was willing to do it, and she nailed it. She nailed it every time. So I told her she should get into acting because that would intimidate the vast majority of people.
It was really fun to be able to like spend time, for once, kind of being the older end of the cast, like how we were with Joe, Kiri, and Charlie, and Natalia.
The best way to work with kids is you treat them respectfully. Our AD would say, hey, who wants to scream? And they all raise their hands, and then we would go around and say, you scream, you scream, you scream, until we found the best screamer. And then we would put them in a close-up.
Matt and Ross are really, really great at building tension. They're really great at letting sound and music sort of breathe. In real life, lights really don't make a whole lot of noise. They don't really make all those sounds, but the idea was to sort of orchestrate these lights flickering, amp up the, uh-oh, something's about to happen factor.
Our gaffer and our cinematographer are masters of flickering lights. One of the things that we've kind of had to dial in over the years to have the lights flicker in a way that's eerie and very Stranger Things, but isn't annoying. Just figuring out exactly how much you want the lights to dim. There's an art to it.
Well, I will say though, this did get annoying because we were out there for like 2 weeks and the lights were just flickering the entire time we were filming.
You know, we started off with just hearing bangs. The bangs were pretty thuddy and sort of distant, and then the bangs started getting a little bit louder, and then I started introducing a little bit of the Demogorgon vocal, so the bangs get a little bit more frequent. It's just the idea of building up this tension.
Because this is a real soundstage that needed to be filled, I know we dressed hundreds of military soldiers. This is a series of multiple days in a row, so sometimes actors can't return, sometimes they don't come back, so there's hundreds of soldiers dressed for this scene.
This shot is something that we planned very quickly, the pose that the Demogorgon does. We made sure it was in the previs and in all of the temps.
Luckily, these actors they're really game. I mean, we will show them previs sometimes.
Yeah, we previs this. Is that what they sounded like?
We do temporary animation just even before shooting, just so that everybody has an idea of what's going to be happening. You know, the cameraman can shoot exactly the right kind of frame so that when we put in the final animated piece, it really feels like this is what it's supposed to look like. We actually had 3 people on the set in unitards with their faces covered so that nobody looked at their faces, and they had tennis balls on their heads so that people knew the height of the Demogorgon.
Sometimes we'll do tricks, we'll play sound for them, so we'll play Demogorgon roars, we'll play gunfire.
The roar is sort of a combination of like you take dry ice and you sort of like squeal it across metal. There's a lion roar in there. Sometimes I would use baby cries, recording that stuff, stretching it, and then maybe only taking the middle of it or the front part of it, but then you attach it to the dry ice squeal, and then you kind of like, you just sort of, it gets these building blocks, right?
Stunt rehearsals started 6 weeks before we started shooting. They had to plan out every second of every throw, every time the Demogorgon runs from one place to another. We had to really know exactly where he was going to be. They mix in motion capture wherever they can, but so much of it has to be timed to what the stunt people and the actors did on the set. So someone's being thrown, that's a real person being thrown across, and we have to kind of meet the animation where the stunt guy gets thrown to the ground so that it feels natural.
This is our demo vision. We just put a camera on a drone, and then the drone guys were really amazing at giving the drone this like up and down feel as if it is the Demogorgon galloping. Does the Demogorgon gallop?
Yeah.
We figured out kind of what the gallop would look like, and the drone would fly down the street. We use that as our base, and we put in all of the vines and the spores and the weird demo vision look to it.
The sonic idea around this was to sort of give the audience or the viewer an idea of like going into Will's mind, in essence going into the Demogorgon's mind, the galloping of the Demogorgon. You can hear their breathing.
All the Demogorgon stuff this year is so cool because they really like honed in on the like sound of the Demogorgon. Like it's like snarling. It really does feel real. Like all of them feel very like real, wild, you know, animals almost.
I have this library of seals. The interesting thing about making monster sounds, you gotta try to have a hook. My hook was sort of try to take these seal sounds and put them in to the Demogorgons. Sometimes just like, that sound just works.
For the creation of this, we were inspired by Evil Dead 2, which brilliantly by Sam Raimi, just in terms of the energy of the evil is just rushing through the woods. We wanted to sort of get that energy and rush and excitement anytime we cut to Will's vision.
There he is.
Ah.
Anytime you're seeing a rift opening, we just have light that we just make them glow red. So again, now you have actors just imagining that the ground is opening up or the roof of the tunnel is opening up behind them, but it really was just a tube, a red tube that just turned on bright and you just had to use your imagination.
They really did build these tunnels. These are almost entirely practical, but they had a whole kind of Lego set of pieces that we could reconfigure so that people could run, whatever distance they needed to run and go around corners.
How hard is it to run in that tunnel?
Pretty challenging. And it was very slippery because especially like stopping at that moment. And like with the rift opening, like having the right eye line and knowing where to look at was interesting. I want to say challenging, it was just interesting.
I was able to sort of introduce the rift sound, which is the sort of like high moaning cry. And then the low end of that sound is sort of this undulating, churning sound. Again, there's a lot of backgrounds in some of these scenes where it's insects and it's crickets and it's like cicadas, but they're pitched down 2 or 3 octaves and then they're reversed and then they're resampled, and that becomes a layer of what the upside down could be.
Okay, I know I have to be scared, but it's
Right.
like, how scared am I?
Right.
Because you don't want to get too scared and then there's another moment and you're like, oh, you have to know how to gauge that meter.
Totally.
Keeping the composure for the kids at the same time. I couldn't be like, oh my God! And those kids are like, oh, he's actually really scared, so there's a balance.
Well, you did it great.
Hey, thanks. That's who Lucas is. He's resilient. He's a soldier. Going into the season, he has that mindset. He's ready for any battle that is to come.
When we first read the scene, it was an undetermined number of Demogorgons, and we kind of kept trimming it down, and we ended up with, 3 Demogorgons can do a lot of damage.
This is one of my favorite shots. I love this shot with the demos. It was actually extremely challenging because of the amount of area that we had to light.
Okay, oneer starts here, right?
Move into our oneer.
What I think we're watching right now is that oneer.
2 or 3 minutes of a seamless trip through the battle.
What that means is that I have to have a lot of hairstylists on set. You don't want to be the reason for the reset of this scene.
If you screw anything up, like you have to go back and do it all over again, and there's so many things moving, bodies flying.
A lot can go wrong
And it does.
during the course
And
of
it
the take,
does.
and yeah, it often does.
We shoot it, right? And you shoot this whole thing, and then between each shot, you basically have 20 hairstylists, makeup artists, costume people running in to reset all these people to make sure it's perfect for the next setup.
So honestly, so nice to do it as a oneer because you kind of forget you're filming, you're just in it and you're running and it all is happening and you're living the world. So it makes it easier
Totally.
to act in it.
The high stakes of the scene also went in with the high stakes of the filming of it, which
It's
was
crazy, and you have these real reactions to you're seeing a body fly over you for the first time, and it's it feels just so real.
Totally.
Which is what you're going for when you're filming this.
When they throw these stunt performers, they're in harnesses that we have to put underneath the costume. You'll have them harnessed and then they get pick pointed, which is a shackle that needs to be clipped in, and sometimes you have to cut holes in the costume.
Our stunt coordinator said that he's never done anything like that because generally you're doing a stunt like that, you're flinging someone around, you're going to get a close-up of it, but we wanted it to feel like there's all this action happening around our characters, but we wanted to stick closely to their point of view.
The scene was chaos, the actual sonic chaos that you want to have in a scene like this, but you need to understand the dialogue. You need to understand all these different story beats. You're ducking and diving, gunfire and ricochets.
If you rewind it up to the point where Derek looks up at the guy, there, right here. So our camera operator went up to find this stunt and see this soldier get flung over the rail, and then when the camera tilts back down, that's a new shot.
We looked for places like that, little whip pans that we can kind of hide a seam in.
The purists will get mad at us because we had to stitch it together, but we're working with kids and heavy stunts. You don't want to do it too much because you want the actors to stay as in it as possible. So the longer you can go, the better.
We looked a lot at Children of Men, what Lebesky and Caron did, and those big, incredible wonders in there. And I think it just feels very alive. It feels almost documentary-like. It's a very wide-angle lens, which we did here, so that you're able to see a lot of what's going on, even in the deep background. It also forces our camera operator to be very close to the characters, which gives it that documentary feel and that feel of like we're in the middle of a war. Our camera op, Nick Mueller's incredible, and what makes him such a great camera op, or one of the reasons, is he used to be a dancer when he was growing up. So he's very, very precise in his movements, and something like this is very choreographed. And so he's almost dancing with the actors. It is like a bit of a ballet. And they're going off his movements, he's going off their movements, and everyone's sort of working together.
Is everybody okay? Are you guys okay? The Radio Shack. If we move quick enough, I think we can make it. Get into the tunnels and get the hell out of here. Okay? Eyes on me, remember?
It was cool to be able to do these scenes, especially this scene, with these other kids, because it almost feels like we're kind of protecting our younger characters or our younger selves a little bit.
When we did have kids on set, we had as few minutes with them as possible, obviously. We wanted to spend as much of their time in front of the camera and not in the hair trailer. So with every single one of them, it was really a little bit of a puzzle to just get them out on time.
All right, go!
Get some! Saying that's a Demogorgon. Get some!
I had one tiny scene in season 4 where I had to like run for like a second and I almost puked. And so when the Duffers were like, oh, like you're gonna be running and like protecting these kids, I was like, oh, I gotta start running.
Oh. So and you have a physical trainer?
I had a trainer
That's sick.
for like stamina. And then the minute we were done filming this scene, I never did any physical exercise again.
The wonder was always meant to be the centerpiece of this scene, and I think it really works.
5 minutes is not a long time, but if you really look at the details of the shots and like how many angles and lines and like the Demogorgon coming that way and then like 3 military guys getting like killed in the background or guns being blasted, like that's a lot and that's intentional and that is challenging.
The goal of the sequence though is you're not really thinking about it. You don't want to be like, I'm showing off and look what we can do with our wonder. It's really just about making the audience feel immersed in this battle and feeling like they're there with the kids and they're there with Mike. We don't want people thinking about the filmmaking.